my name is Allie, and welcome to the first episode of Funny Fat Friend, a podcast about a girl trying to find herself in film. Turns out biracial fat girls aren't the box office cliche you'd expect. Surprise, surprise. I have a very special guest with me today to help me talk about this first film. She's one of my great loves of my life. She's my best friend, Christy.
Hi.
Oh man, Christy. Do you feel like you're able to identify and see yourself in movies?
No.
Oh.
See? As a fat girl, no.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
Not in main characters. I think that's... I had a lot of... Well, I still have a lot of body issues. But, growing up, I was like, oh no, I'm so deficit. Because especially movies before the last couple years, they were very, you have to be so thin. And it's now it's not. And also, I don't know. I just sometimes struggle to see that in movies.
Yeah, I think, things are definitely changing, obviously.
Yeah.
We have a lot of work to do.
Yes.
I've never seen a movie where I'm like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other people get to see that a lot. And so we're on the road, and we're going down the road together with this podcast, kind of. The first movie, though, it was a weird choice. It was technically a box office smash, actually.
I can kind of see why. It's from 2010, so I can kind of see it back then.
Which, also, 2010, we'll get back to that, because that blew my mind away, that it was made in 2010. But anyway, the movie we're talking about today is called Valentine's Day, and I picked it for a couple reasons. Number one, the rom-com genre is where the funny fat friend character cliche has really blossomed. And two, this episode is coming out on the literal holiday Valentine's Day, and I thought it'd be cute as heck, and so here we are. Let me just get some hot facts out the gate about Valentine's Day. Just get it out of the way. Okay, so this movie is famous for having an ensemble cast of 20 celebrities in it. And it was the film debut for Taylor Swift. Lucky us. It had a budget of $52 million, and it made $216 million at the box office, so it was a smash. Okay, now we're gonna tear it up, because it's awful. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
I feel like I've seen worse, but it's definitely not, good. I rented it on Amazon for very, very cheap.
Yeah, I rented it for $2.
Yeah, it was so cheap, and that's probably not great. And then I'm never probably going to watch it again. I have the DVD in my house, and I will never watch it again.
You have the DVD in your house?
Yeah, I was a real sad 18-year-old in 2010.
Why did you rent it on Amazon?
Because I didn't feel like turning on my DVD player.
Wow. The podcast is now about millennial problems.
I'm lazy. It's not a millennial thing. It's just really that I'm lazy.
That's incredible.
It was much easier to just Chromecast it and go.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this movie opens, and it's Valentine's Day. There's this weird, radio host that gets introduced.
We never see.
Which, to be fair, okay, radio. You don't see them.
I kind of would expect at the end, maybe they would show, oh, I'm the DJ Love Man. I don't remember his name.
Oh, yeah, if he had been, Cupid at the end or something.
Yeah.
We, zoom into
it would have been cute. Yeah, bing, especially with how the movie ends with those two. We won't get there yet, but it's ding, and then
we go immediately to the end of the movie. But anyway, so it starts, it is Valentine's Day, surprise. Let's talk about these opening credits that last literally 10 minutes.
That's a Gary Marshall thing, I'm pretty sure, because I think about back to Princess Diaries. That's kind of how they did, too. It was just shots of San Francisco, and then his name in very clear, crisp font.
For 10 minutes?
Yeah, it was a little long.
It was so long. Because, to be fair, okay, there's 20 celebrities.
Yeah. You couldn't leave some of them out. They'd get pissed.
Yeah, and the whole thing, I think it's a SAG thing that you have to have, the actors' names appear twice at least in the movie credits.
That's a little
which
much.
we've like moved away from like the opening credit thing,
Yeah.
unless it's like something cool. Like Baby Driver is really cool. That comes to
Yeah.
mind of like opening credit scenes that are cool. But this one is trash, and it's just on top of this montage of like love, like couples in love, and like animals in love, and
Which, yeah, like, I've been around for almost 28 Valentine's Days. Never have I had a day where I've consistently seen that many people kiss, like, as much as in that montage. Like, it's never, most of the time people just look human.
yeah,
you know,
Valentine's
like,
Day
just
is
normal.
like usually a pretty like if you're
Chill.
celebrating a kind of a private thing.
Yeah.
But the first like celebrities we're introduced to are Jessica Alba and Ashton Kutcher, a match made in heaven, right?
No. Like, okay, I want to first point out her name is Morley. That's a bad name. Like, can you imagine being in bed and yelling out the name Morley?
Morley. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Morley.
I don't know. That was something that's not even, I'm going to feel bad if they named it after their dead great grandmother or something, but like, it's not a believable name to me. And I know that's a small thing to have an issue with, but I got thrown off every time they said Morley, and thus it's the only name I remember.
That's interesting because I did not remember her name at all. What I did remember from the from that scene is that both of them are in bed sleeping on top of the covers.
That's true.
I couldn't stop thinking about that. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, they didn't look like, it was very obvious Jessica Alba was not actually sleeping. Like, the way, like, she was startled awake. I'm like, that's not how I look in the mornings.
How did he get the ring? So he has an engagement ring.
As one does on Valentine's Day.
Yep. And he immediately proposes to her when they get up. What do you think about a Valentine's proposal?
Trash. So, I have fully told my boyfriend if he ever proposes on Valentine's Day, I'm like, I guess I'll say yes, but I'm going to be upset. I also don't want to be awakened with that because, one, I'm not nice in the morning. But also, you don't go into a proposal without having talked about it first. You don't just sit there and say, you know what, I'm going to marry this person and propose to them and never have a conversation about, like, marriage or whether that's something they'd want. Because it was pretty apparent that everyone expected her to say no.
Yeah, that was so intense.
And rude.
Every single person throughout the movie was like,
oh, she said yes?
Oh.
Or, I'm not surprised she left you on the day you proposed to her.
Oh, drama.
Like,
so, yeah, in like 40 minutes we find out. The pacing in this movie is insane, which of course I guess it had to be because they decided that instead of just having 20 celebrities simply together, they had to have all these weird little stories and narratives, and somehow they're all connected and blah, 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 blah.
Which that's the part I kind of liked about it. I don't know. It kind of reminded me of Love Actually a little bit.
There was it was a lot like Love Actually. It's American Love Actually.
Except Love Actually was better.
Yeah, I know that I have seen Love Actually at least like 5 times. I only remember there's a man with some cards like Bob Dylan at a door. And that's it. Yeah. That's all I can remember from that movie. But that's maybe a good thing because this movie will be burned into my brain because it's so bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, Ashton Kutcher proposes to his girlfriend. She says yes. He is a florist. So he goes outside and gets with his best friend / coworker, George Lopez, who's just standing on a bridge that's outside his house. Fishing? I don't understand the neighborhood they live in.
I'm pretty sure at one point he fished in over this bridge.
He does.
This is a commercial pond. He lived in a condo complex or something. You can't just fish in their pond. You're gonna catch a goldfish.
He constantly has things in his hands, too. I don't know what... So he comes outside and George Lopez is reading a book.
Okay, yeah, so he's not fishing
Instead of just, sitting in the van or hanging out.
Yeah.
He's reading a Rumi book, which Rumi is, a poet or something, right?
I think it talks a lot about love. I'm pretty sure, right? Because Beyonce's twins. They're named after one's Rumi and
He's like
one's
a philosopher. I think maybe it's something spiritual.
Yeah.
I don't know. This isn't a YouTube video,
No.
and I'm going to say comment below who Rumi is, please. I don't know. But anyway, so George Lopez constantly has things in his hands. That's pretty much his only character development at all. Is that George Lopez is brown and has stuff in his hands.
He's like one of the few bits of diversity we see in this film.
Oh, yeah. We've got him and
Jamie Foxx.
Yep.
And that's it. Pretty white film.
Yep. And so, surprise. They go to work. It's Valentine's Day. It's busy. They're florists. Surprise. He calls his best friend when he gets engaged, as one does. And he leaves a voicemail. Then we get introduced to his best friend, Jennifer Gardner, who I had completely forgotten about.
Yeah. Like, I like her as an actress most of the time, and as a person, she seems nice. But I forgot she was in this movie, and I had read the Wikipedia plot before I watched the movie. But we find her, she was having relations with Patrick Dempsey, a.k.a.
I wrote down Hot Doctor.
McDreamy.
Oh, okay.
Because we have McDreamy and McSteamy in this film.
I don't know what that means.
McSteamy's Eric Dane. The football player, Sean Jackson.
Oh, are they both in Grey's Anatomy?
Yeah, they were best friends.
Oh,
and then,
nice.
The whole plane crash took down McSteamy. And if you haven't watched it, it's a really emotional season if you're into that stuff.
It's
not great, but...
isn't that show still on the air, too?
Shouldn't be.
Oh, well.
It just should have ended years ago.
That makes sense. Okay,
Anyway.
Back to this bad movie. So we meet them, and he's like, I have to go perform open heart surgery or something. I'm a doctor that's busy. And he gives her a weird wind-up toy that's like a little heart.
And it had little feet, which is not anatomically correct. And also, if I was dating a hot doctor, a heart surgeon, and he gave me a wind-up toy that you could find in the bottom of any child's toy bin, I'd be a little pissed. Like, first Valentine's Day, I would expect, like, I don't know, something, like a plate or something, like something nicer.
A plate.
Like a one with gold on, I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know what...
I anticipated you being like, like a paint your own pottery. Like,
no, I meant like a
a really nice gold plate for my first Valentine's Day.
with a hot surgeon, yes.
These are some very specific expectations. Wow, we gotta make this movie. But anyway, he's like kind of shady from the jump or whatever. And we also meet Jamie Foxx and Kathy Bates, who work together at a news station, which is just such an incredible pairing. I'd watch an entire movie.
Yeah.
It was just Jamie Foxx and Kathy Bates talking to each other as the people they are. Like, I think that would be amazing. That's what the movie should be. What an incredible dynamic they have together.
And I think it's interesting, and they never really went into the backstory of it, of like why Jamie Foxx hates Valentine's Day so much.
Yeah, and who's the number one sportscaster? She's all like, you're my number two, so you have to go do these fluffy pieces today.
I guess a part of me, like, he was so resistant to it. I'm like, okay, but this is also your job. You're still getting your time. You still, like, this is going to be a big hot piece for the day. I mean, it's not going to be anything like world changing, but it's something,
It's so incredible.
She asks him to interview people about Valentine's Day, but I don't think I had mentioned that. And he was like, no. And
yeah, he says he's a player.
And so he, like, skips the months around Valentine's Day so he wouldn't have a date for Valentine's Day, which seems like I guess, like, that planning's pretty good, but, I mean, I don't know. Does anyone hate Valentine's Day, like, that much to where they would not date around the time period of it so that they would miss it?
That would also be tough because it's like, I'd want to try and avoid birthdays. I want to try and avoid any holidays.
Yeah.
Like really. But whatever. This isn't a deep movie. It's very shallow. No. We can't. We're gonna spend 3 hours if we keep caring about the logic of these characters and their conversations. Okay, so then we meet our next grouping of celebrities, which I had to sit on the floor when I saw that it was Topher Grace and Anne Hathaway.
And she seemed a little crazy. A little too enthusiastic.
Yeah, it was a very disingenuous character. It was
it
odd.
was. I thought maybe she was on speed. At one point, I was like, is she on drugs? Because, it was too, oh, changing my mind's how we met you, and then she'd make out with him, and I was like, oh, is this a one-night stand? Come to find out it wasn't, but it was a lot.
Yeah, she talked about how incredible the sex they had was,
yeah.
and he couldn't tell if it had been great.
He was at least an A-, B+. I'm like, she seemed to like it. Just go with it. You don't have to put a grade on it. Did you like it? That's fun. Everyone's happy.
It was very, also, Topher Grace has been in such odd romantic comedies.
Yeah.
What a career. He's played David Duke. He's played the man with spiky hair and Win a Date with, is it Tad or Todd Hamilton?
Tad. And then he was on that 70s show.
What a guy.
Yeah, he's
good. I love Topher Grace. I saw him in Breakthrough. I watched Breakthrough because I watched all the Oscar noms. And that hurt. That hurt my heart that he was in that really, really atrocious movie. We're not going to talk about that movie. That one is probably maybe one of the worst. That's really, I'm taking it back. Valentine's Day is not that bad in comparison. But, okay, so we meet them, and, yeah, they've been dating a couple weeks, and she runs out, and because her phone keeps ringing, she answers it, it's weird, she's, talking in a weird accent, and saying, vaguely sexual things to whoever's on the phone. Mm-hmm. It's obvious, it's
phone sex.
Yeah, it's just phone sex. But we are introduced to my favorite part of this entire movie, which is the weird one-liners that strangers on the street get throughout this whole movie. I wrote this one down because it blew me away. Anne Hathaway is talking about having a threesome with her roommate. She's like, oh, my roommate just got home. If you want to have a threesome. And the woman just says, if he says yes, it'll take me a minute to change. While she's holding a small Pomeranian dog in pajamas.
And she had been across the street, and then for some reason she's suddenly next. Did she really think this was going down? I can't tell if she really thought that or if she just wanted to be in the nose.
I was this woman.
She was down.
Flawless delivery.
Yeah.
It was convincing.
Yeah.
Probably the best acting in the entire movie. It was my favorite part, and we're about 15 minutes into the movie. So that's great. Oh, jeez Louise. Oh, next is the old people love, which was the most wholesome part of the movie, I think.
I liked them.
I think it was the only believable part of the movie.
I also like Hector Elizondo.
The Princess Diaries.
Yeah, these are the two things I've seen him in, and I liked him in both. He's Joe.
Yeah, he's so genuine. He's got such a kind, endearing face.
Yeah, I'd trust him.
Yeah.
I'd also probably marry him a little bit.
Nice. I don't understand what your you have high expectations on getting engaged and it not being on Valentine's Day, wanting a gold plate from a surgeon, but we'll just marry this man.
Yeah.
Sure. Whatever. I don't know anything about love. Who am I? You got it cracked. And then we meet Taylor Swift's character, and it's
bad.
Yeah.
It's kind of, she was she was a lot young. I mean, this was 10 years ago, so whatever she is now, she was younger then. And it was worse than she is now because she talked like a Valley girl, which I guess it was filmed in LA, but she also she had a 13 road on her hand, which I was like, it's just number. You can stop now. And they didn't need to incorporate that into the film. And her acting is horrendous.
Is the 13
That's her.
something?
That is Taylor Swift's like lucky number, and they incorporated that in the film. And I'm like, what a like, yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, did you write that into your contract? And that's where, I mean, this is where Taylor and Taylor Lautner met, so that we did eventually get the song Back to December.
Oh, they weren't together before this movie? I thought they were in it together because of, like...
I don't think so. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought this was where they met.
I don't know. Comment below.
But I will say, this is where we get Back to December, which, I mean, I've got a poor taste in music. I enjoyed it.
Back to December all the time. Copyright infringement. We're flawless interpretation of Taylor Swift's song Back to December, everybody. We'll probably take that and make it its own MP3. You guys can download it later.
Or not.
Taylor Swift, so she and Jennifer Gardner meet in the elevator for the Hot Doctors building. Apparently they live in the same building. She has this massive teddy bear. I couldn't understand what she said most of the time in this movie at all.
What I remember on the word for word play down is just that she was like, hey, do you live here? And Jennifer Garner was like, no, I just visit. Like, I knew someone who got into a wreck, and the lady said she lived there sexually. So I guess Jennifer Garner could have said she lived there sexually. And Taylor Swift was like, oh, I see you in the lobby all the time. She goes, my boyfriend gave me this bear. I opened the door, and it wasn't him, it was the bear. And then she took it to school, and this thing's giant. Like, no. If he leaves it at your house, you leave it at home.
I don't know. Don't you love prop comedy?
I guess if that's the only thing your character really has going for it, but...
Insanely popular genre of prop comedy. Gotta love that for her. But yeah, so they meet. That's how they're connected. These connections are very loose and bad. That one obviously was like a last minute, put them in an elevator together. Make them live in the same place. Then Jennifer Gardner goes to Ashton Kutcher. I don't know any of these characters' names.
I mean, I don't think we're supposed to. Reed. No.
Yeah, maybe.
Reed.
That's like a flower thing, right? Reeds in the water. That's poetic. Good job, writers. You did so good. I'm sorry, they're probably nice people.
I'm sure. Gary Marshall, may he rest in peace.
Oh no, he's dead!
Yeah, did you not? His daughter was also in the flower shop. She's always in, in Princess Diaries, the Queen's assistant.
Lady?
Yeah, that's always her.
Oh.
That's his daughter.
Oof.
Carrying on the legacy.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
It isn't a slight on him, just on his work. Not all of his work. Princess Diaries was a gem.
I do really enjoy Princess Diaries. Okay, anyway, back to... Jennifer Gardner goes to Ashton Kutcher's florist place, anticipating that Jessica Alba said no to his proposal, and she said yes, and she's surprised by it. There's a really long line at the florist, and there's another one of these side conversations, like one-liners, where there's a woman with her son, and then he keeps, messing with something, and she, just puts him on the counter of the place, and they're like, you can't just put this child on this counter, please. And so there are these nuns behind her.
Which, that reminds me of Princess Diaries. I'm wondering if there's a connection, because they were nuns when the bus crashed in the car, and they were like, oh, call 911, they put me on hold for the love of God. That whole connection.
He just loves nun comedy.
I think maybe he does.
Props and nuns.
Consistency.
Wow. Anyway, so she just hands her child to these nuns, and they say, I wrote this one down too. The mother says, you should know we're Jewish. And the nuns reply back, God loves us all.
I don't see how religion has anything to do with holding a baby.
What?
I didn't see that connection there.
They had to block and shoot that scene. Someone wrote those lines down.
Those people had to act it.
And they're also having to deal with the fact that they were trying to connect 20 different stories together, and they're like, this is something we need to keep in. This is important. I loved it. I thought it was one of the best parts of the entire movie. Then Patrick Dempsey, we find out he's a bad guy because he goes home to his wife and child, and for some reason he just starts juggling apples, and his wife goes, "Doesn't Daddy juggle well?"
Not if you watch this movie. Ooh.
Comedy's alive and well. Then we meet Bradley Cooper. All I wrote down at this part, I just wrote down Bradley Cooper.
Yeah. I mean, he just chilling, sleeping, technically, with Jennifer. Not, like, sexually.
This would have been after the Hangover movie, right? The first one. Yeah, the first one would have already come out. So Bradley Cooper has, like, exploded onto the scene of, like, popularity.
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering how he was in this movie. And I figured it out. So Bradley Cooper's there, and then, Julia Roberts. They got Julia Roberts.
That's a big deal.
And she definitely was like, I am coming into set for one day. You can put me in one location. And so they wrote this character around her. She was obviously busy. Good for her. What a queen.
This was one of the parts I liked better in the movie. Like, her and Bradley Cooper, like, they didn't fall in love, which was nice. And I liked her storyline a lot.
Yeah, they were interesting. They were I think they were the only interesting part about the entire movie.
Yeah.
Was just two people meeting and having a genuine human connection.
Without trying to fuck.
Wow. Okay, oh my gosh. This movie, we're still only like 20 minutes in. The introducing of all of these characters does not pay off at any point.
No.
I'm sorry if you think at some point, listeners, that this is going to pay off. It's not.
No.
It's bad. We meet Queen Latifah. Oh my gosh, Queen Latifah.
I like her.
Is in this movie also. And how did they...
She wasn't in it much. I feel like she also is very much like, I'm busy.
I'm doing one thing.
Yeah.
And you're going to pay me a butt ton of money for it. That's fair. The worst I think the cringiest moment in the entire movie happens where they go back to the florist, we go back to the florist, and there's a woman speaking with a thick accent, and, like, they can't understand her at the counter, and the man at the counter also has an accent and goes, "Oh, you should speak English. I had to learn when I came over."
Well, and then they asked for someone who spoke English with a Hungarian accent or something. They asked for something, and they're like, "Oh, I can talk to her." It's like, what?
Yeah. And so then they spoke to each other. And then we get a couple minutes later that they're in love.
I missed that.
Those two people, you see them, they're like making out.
Well, good for them. But, yeah, that was pretty cringy.
It was really bad. And then we get the crumbling of Jessica Alba and Ashton Kutcher's relationship. She shows up not wearing the ring.
Which, it was a nice ring. He put some effort into that. That's almost as good as a gold plate.
Love that. But we find out they hadn't even discussed kids.
Yeah.
At this point. They were engaged, hadn't discussed kids. The last first date I went on.
Yeah.
We talked about kids.
When my boyfriend and I started dating, we talked about it like fourth date. Like, oh, do you want this? Because otherwise... Like, opinions can change, because right now I'm on a very no kids kick because they're awful. But, like, I've had some bad experiences this week. But, at the end of the day, you can't start out with, if you think something's going to work out, that's a pretty big deal breaker. That's what I'm trying to say. It could easily be a deal breaker. Words.
Yeah, it's like, in a thing. It's a thing you
have to
discuss.
Talk about it.
At any point,
Continuing conversation. And it seems like they live together. How did they not discuss marriage, kids? Like, I don't know. I ask Eric about weird things we could name our kids all the time. Like chair.
Yeah, people put it on their dating profiles.
Yeah.
It's like a question on most dating profiles. Whatever. Who are we? We meet, so beyond the old couple, we find out they have a grandson. I remember his name, Edison. That's the only one I remember is Edison, because that was cute.
Yeah. I mean, he was all right.
He's cute.
He's cute.
I liked them talking to each other.
Yes.
I wanted the whole movie to be them hanging out.
Yeah.
Because that was really cute.
Yeah, it was.
We also get a Kentucky shout out.
Okay, I hated that shout out. I hated it because they were so rude. I think it was maybe Ashton Kutcher who said it. I can't remember.
It was Topher Grace.
Was it? Okay. He said, and I don't remember. I didn't write down the quote, but he basically alluded that Kentucky has Love Your Cousin Day, which we live in Kentucky. That's hurtful. I have never once fell in love with my cousin. Granted, I do have a cousin who married her cousin, but...
This is the podcast.
But yeah, like I was like, that's pretty rare. Outside of like gypsy weddings, like it's pretty rare. My cousin's not a gypsy, but it did happen on Gypsy Wives, but on TLC. But tune in Sundays at 9. I don't even know.
Sponsor us, TLC, please.
That would actually make my entire life. But, and they were second cousins, so I don't know if that really... They did have to go to Tennessee to get married on Dale Earnhardt's birthday at 3 p.m.
Oh my gosh. But anyway, yeah, he's from Indiana. It's for some reason important that Topher Grace's character is from Indiana. It gets brought up like 5 times. But he's from Indiana. They make a joke about cousin loving, and he's like, no, that's not Indiana, that's Kentucky. Ha ha. It killed. Everybody was rolling in the aisles in the theater, I'm sure. Oh my gosh. Oh, there's another Jessica in this movie. Which one? Who is she?
Wait, give the context.
Oh no, it's another Jennifer. I wrote down a Jessica. There's another Jessica Alba. No, it's another Jennifer. We got Jennifer Beal. Is it Jennifer Beal?
Jessica Biel.
Justin
Timberlake's wife. Yeah, she's like, okay, set the scene. In your office, running on a treadmill, donut in hand, a cup full of M&Ms on your table, chocolate strewn everywhere, and she tries to answer the phone. That's the scene.
I laughed.
I was confused. And she has a big day where she also hates Valentine's Day, which she annually has an I Hate Valentine's Day party, which, like, I get if you're sad because you're alone. Like, what are you doing to try to, like, rectify that? Or are you just expecting the universe to bow to you? Like, what? I don't know. I saw a lot of cognitive dissonance with her. So.
Homegirl had problems. That's what that meant. But I laughed because, yeah, she, like, accidentally turns up the treadmill while she's trying to answer the phone.
I'll applaud her for not falling.
It was some very good physical comedy work.
Yeah, I didn't, like, the fact that she actually had to, like, do the maneuver she did, it was pretty nice.
Yeah, she did a good job. But Jessica Biel.
Hot mess.
Is a PR agent.
For Sean Jackson.
We haven't met him yet.
You will. Don't you worry.
Oh my gosh. This is an exhausting, awful web of a movie. Then what is next? Oh, we meet Emma Roberts, who's friends with Taylor Swift.
And I don't know her boyfriend's name.
I don't know.
The actor. Either.
I have no idea who he is.
Yeah, so he's got brown hair. So brown-haired man. She decides, she's like, you know what? She talks to her teacher about this, which part of me is like boundaries. But she's just like, I'm going to go to my house during lunch and have sex with my boyfriend for the first time because I'm 18 and my parents aren't home.
You know, I was like, relatable. That was like, there was no magic romance.
No, but.
My first time at all. Pretty, very much the opposite.
Basement in Indiana.
Oh, hot.
No.
Yeah, that'll be a different conversation we have. My mom might listen to this, and she already told me she does not want to hear about the first time I had sex. So I'll leave it out. You can ask me in the comments. But it was like, I was like, oh, okay, whatever. This is happening, I guess. They're in high school. Great. And then we meet the football player who...
Whatever.
Has a nice house.
There's, no personality there. He's just mad and threw a toothbrush away. We find out later why, but...
Oh, I missed that entirely.
Yeah, there was an extra toothbrush in a cup, and he threw it out.
Oh, that's sad.
Like, as if he were scorned by love on this Valentine's Day.
Anyway, but he's like a
Yeah.
football player and he's not signed to a team, and so he's like, meh. And Jessica Biel is his PR agent, and then we find out Queen Latifah is his agent.
I guess, yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Anne Hathaway works for Queen Latifah.
She's temping as the receptionist for Queen Latifah.
Which, based on some events that go down later on, she should probably lock that down full time because Latifah is way cooler than any other boss could be.
Yeah, she's still doing her sex...
During work. Like, during
her
office
phone
hours.
sex on her work phone.
Like, and Queen Latifah listens in, which is great.
It's
with her and Vladimir.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Vladimir. That's a good name. The doctor is a bad guy. He goes to the florist and orders 2 bouquets. One of them for Jennifer Gardner, who is Ashton Kutcher's best friend. And Jennifer Gardner is a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
Edison, or not kindergarten. That's too young, yeah.
Youth teacher.
Edison is in her class. And he also orders flowers from Ashton Kutcher to give to a woman he's in love with.
Which they did not deliver, which was unprofessional.
It was pretty bad.
But also, he did not pay for half of the flowers. So.
Yeah, he gave like $13, but it was like $50, which was a lot of money. I don't know how much flowers cost.
They're expensive. Yeah. That's why funeral industry costs go up. That's part of it.
Oh, wow. I feel bad. I really love getting flowers.
I thought you were going to say funerals.
Oh. No. I like getting flowers.
No, don't feel bad.
You can also get that they were so expensive.
You can also get like cheap ones at Kroger.
That's good.
You know, but also if someone's willing to put that money in, that's on them. You know, to make you happy.
Oh, that's nice. Oh my gosh. But okay, so Ashton Kutcher goes to the school to try and tell Jennifer Gardner about her bad boyfriend.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. It doesn't work out because Jennifer Gardner decides she's just gonna like fly to San Francisco to like see him because he had to go do surgery.
Which like she doesn't even know where he's staying, which is a mistake. But like he really tried to tell her, and she was like, "Oh no, you're just sad because you're gonna lose me." Which at this point he hasn't been dumped, so why would he be sad? You know, and I had issues with that because when my friends have done an intervention with the person I'm dating, like I normally take a good little listen to that, and she was just like, no.
Yikes. Yeah, so she did not. Yeah, she didn't listen at all.
No, it's like...
I guess if you're in it, you're in it, you know? She's gonna do whatever she wanted to do. But when she comes back into the classroom, there are 3 children choking each other.
That's very realistic, though. That's so realistic.
Actively choking each other.
Yeah, you can't leave them alone. They're little chaos tornadoes.
If someone could please make a gif of the 3 children choking each other.
I just love that she picked one of them up. I'm like, does she have a license to restrain? Because that's kind of what's happening here.
Oh my gosh, it was just so wild. I didn't understand.
And Edison was in charge of the class, and he was not taking control.
It didn't make any sense. I was like, why is this happening? Why is there to be this weird, scary conflict? Oh my gosh. Jeez Louise. Oh, okay. Okay, so at this point I asked myself if this was even a rom-com because all we've gotten is sad, boring mess.
No, in one engagement.
But it's bad. Everybody's sad about it.
He's not.
And she took off the ring already at this point.
That's true.
It's sad.
Yeah. Well, Taylor Swift and Taylor Lautner are in love at this point, so we think.
I guess, I don't know. She seems pretty terrible to him. She, like, doesn't listen to him.
Yeah,
well.
but...
And 13 is her lucky number, not his.
I know.
And she made him, like, a jersey with 13
Well, I mean,
on
it's
it.
pretty evident that, like, teenage love often doesn't last. Only 2% of high school sweethearts stay together. So, you know, we all know it's not going to end up happy, but for this one Valentine's Day, they're both mediocrely happy.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, we get the weird radio host comes back. The narrator man. He's like, I don't remember his name. I think it's, I might have it written down later, but weird radio host man comes back and is like, still tuned in to... It doesn't make sense. I don't know
No.
why it was included at all.
It shouldn't have been.
Oh my gosh. And Ashton Kutcher speaks some bad Spanish at George Lopez at one point, and then George Lopez hooks him up with a lowrider for him to go drive to the airport to stop Jennifer Gardner from going to San Francisco.
And at this point, he's alone. He has gone home already to find out.
Oh, that Jessica Alba is out.
Like, she is packing her stuff. She even takes the dog, which is a bitch move. I get it, but, like, he's already alone.
The dog obviously wanted to go with her.
I know, I just hate that for him. Like, not even a dog when he gets home.
That dog was the best actor in this movie.
Oh, fantastic.
He did a really great
job.
But
yeah, she's already, like, straight up left him the day he proposed. And he's like, did you even consider marrying me? And she said, don't you want someone who doesn't have to consider it? And I was like, I mean, fair, but there are some things to put, like, you gotta put logistics into place. Sometimes you gotta do some thinking.
Gotta do some thinking. But then he goes to the airport to, like, stop Jennifer Gardner or whatever. He, like, runs through the airport without his shoes on.
That's
and we
gross.
do have really good, like, we have a moment, like, the only moment of inclusion of the differently abled. Like, there's a woman who is differently abled who has a line in the movie. And I was like, oh, wow, good, great. Mm-hmm. All these side characters getting these one lines that are the best parts of the movie. What's going on? And then back to Jessica Biel, who hates Valentine's Day, and she says that her boyfriend is her BlackBerry. And then she says, thank God it vibrates.
You put that near your mouth. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you put that on your face, and you also put it on your lady bit.
Okay.
I'm sorry for any of our younger viewers or pure of heart, but, like...
No! It's a really awful, stupid joke. It's such a gross, lame, throwaway joke. It's embarrassing. Somebody had to read this script. Nobody reading this script at any point was like, maybe we could not do bad jokes. I don't understand what happened, honestly. Oh my gosh. Ugh. But then Jennifer Gardner doesn't even listen to Ashton Kutcher at all and leaves and goes to San Francisco. She gets there, surprise, and he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
And the nurses are like, yeah, he has a wife. They just celebrated their anniversary, all this.
They had a look at their face, too, where they're like, this again.
Like, this has happened before.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sure. I do appreciate Jennifer's move to confront him, though.
Homegirl brought a change of clothes.
Well, he doesn't even live in San Francisco. He lives back in their old town.
Oh, in LA.
So she went back to LA, went to the restaurant they were eating at, pretended to be the waitress, said, like, oh, we're serving, like, cheating boyfriend today, or the smelly pig, or whatever. Took their orders, put the weird little walking heart down, and then charged extra lobster and cheesecake to their bill. I appreciate that.
And Maitre D had one of his kids was
her
in
student.
her, yeah, and he got to do like the double finger guns, directly into the camera. That was art in motion. Yeah,
that's a pretty good move, though. I do appreciate that. You find your boyfriend cheating, you at least get lobster and cheesecake out of them.
Yeah,
unless you're allergic, then don't.
Such an important extra addition there. Thank you so much. Topher Grace realizes it's Valentine's Day.
Which is
like,
bad.
Oh, I guess I should take this girl I'm seeing on a date today.
Yeah.
I don't know how he got a reservation in a restaurant at that point.
It was so crowded, though, I wouldn't even call that a reservation.
It didn't make sense.
No.
That restaurant didn't make any sense.
Nope.
He couldn't get in or out of where he was sitting. It was just like one long booth.
What if he'd had to poop? He would have pooped there.
These are the questions you need to ask. If I'm in a restaurant, I need to know where the bathrooms are and the exits and how I can get to them.
Because that's also a fire hazard.
It didn't make it. It was a mess. It was really weird. I hated it really bad. And then somebody else says something about Rumi.
Do
I have that written down. Yeah, I don't remember who it was, but somebody like says like a Rumi quote. So did like Rumi pay? I don't know. Did Rumi's people pay for Rumi to be in this? Maybe Rumi was blowing up at this point. I don't know. Oh, and then we have they talk about how they could go see a movie in a cemetery or whatever. Which is a thing. I've
like
seen
that.
Yeah. I really thought that was like sweet. I thought that was like a romantic, nice idea.
Yeah.
I wrote down my Valentine's plans. I'm planning on going to see the new Sonic movie on Valentine's Day.
Oh, with who?
Myself.
I like it. In a cemetery?
It comes out. I would. I'd go see this new Sonic the Hedgehog movie in a cemetery any moment of every day. I'm excited to see it. But yeah, I don't know. He made a joke about how that wasn't romantic and stuff. And
It's like, I think it is.
I
love combining love and death.
Wow. But anyway, so poor little Jessica Biel has her sad, lonely hearts party.
That no one RSVPs to.
No one RSVPs to.
Which, that does sting when you're also sad to be alone.
It's sad on top of sad. Everybody loves that. But then Jennifer Gardner shows up with all that extra food.
At a restaurant.
She has like a full, like, custom made pinata.
Which there's also a wedding going on in this restaurant.
Yeah, and not even like in a separate room. It's just like 4 feet apart from each other. But okay. Was it Jennifer Gardner? Yeah, Jennifer Gardner takes that baseball bat, and it's one of the hottest moments of all time. Her swinging that bat around, I don't understand. I didn't understand how she was doing it, but dude, it did it. It did it for me. I didn't know that was something I was into. But I appreciate. Thank you, Valentine's Day, for letting me know that that's something that I enjoy to watch and would like to watch a few more times.
Movies should be a moment of self-discovery, so.
It's true. They really should. But yeah, that happened. That was important to me. I wrote that down. Jamie Foxx shows up.
That's right, 'cause she invited him because they'd kind of flirted earlier.
Right, they flirted because he wanted an exclusive story with that football player or whatever, and she's
because the football player had already
came out. I forgot about that. That was some more inclusion.
Yeah, that was nice.
There was.
They all seemed a little confused, so I'm like, okay, I think in today's world, 10 years later, there'd be like less confusion and shock.
Yeah, I think there still is. We still have a lot of stigma. Like, we have not cracked it at all.
I mean, Aaron Hernandez and all that.
Yeah, but
right now.
But yeah, that was nice. That was a nice inclusion. He's still like super hot white man, but that's great.
Yeah,
it's nice. But yeah, Jamie Foxx shows up at her Lonely Hearts thing, and he said. He starts playing a piano. There's just a piano also in this restaurant. And he starts playing I Will Survive. And honestly, I was like, yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. I would probably take piano lessons just so I could learn how to play I Will Survive, too. Why not?
I mean, it looked like a pretty good party after that. They joined the wedding. They all danced. And what we find is Emma Roberts' boyfriend works at the restaurant.
He does work at the restaurant. At this point, they had tried to have sex. He showed up at her house during lunch.
With a guitar.
Oh, which was also too much relatable content. Like, the heart fell into my stomach of pain of, like, high school memory. Bless him. He was a sweet boy. But... oh no! Never let high schoolers play guitars. I think don't let them
leave the house with one.
For the girls, they're bad, and then it's such an uncomfortable experience of having to sit while someone plays you a song that they wrote that is bad. Oh.
Yeah.
But he, luckily...
It was a great prop to cover his penis, though.
Yeah, he gets naked and starts playing his guitar, and he's practicing for when she gets there. But her mom comes home,
in.
surprise.
And, like, I don't know, if that had been my mom, she would have been way more upset than that mom was.
Yeah, that would make entire sense. It's jarring and scary. It would have been very uncomfortable. But anyway, so they don't do it, and so when she shows up...
They wait for not then.
Yeah, they have a conversation about...
Which was healthy and mature.
Yeah, it was the most healthy and mature thing that happens in the entire movie. Yeah. Is these 20-year-old teenagers having a conversation about, you know...
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, that was good. I don't even know what else happens in the movie. The old couple, they have trouble because turns out his wife cheated on him at one point.
But he was in the war.
When he was in the war, sure. And then so he's upset and he goes, this is the cemetery movie night. Topher Grace and Anne Hathaway break up because he hears her doing her phone sex and is like, that's disgusting or something dumb like that. So they break up and then he goes to the cemetery and he meets Old Man and that's how they connect those stories. But Old Man and woman get back together and everybody claps for some reason, even though everybody was
because wasn't she
angry.
in the movie?
Yeah, she was that actress was herself. Feasibly, this is all happening in our universe, I guess, because that actress played herself.
I don't think she and Hector Elizondo
in love. Yeah. It was too much. It hurt my head. I didn't like it. It was great. No, everybody in this movie is bad at their job.
Yeah,
that's nobody is doing their job. Well, I guess Anne Hathaway.
She does her phone sex job, but she doesn't do her receptionist job at all. Which, I don't know. I didn't realize. Like, I get that it's courtesy to answer when someone calls a phone sex line, but why is it so urgent? As if it's like medical on call or something. Like, oh my gosh, they have to orgasm now. Like, what? I feel like it can wait a few minutes, or she can give a call back.
A few, yeah. Voicemail is a useful tool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, Julia Roberts. We didn't really talk about Julia Roberts. We just said that we liked her character and then didn't talk.
We haven't had to rip her apart yet.
No. Well, so Julia Roberts is
soldier,
active duty, yeah, and is coming home for one night or whatever, and Bradley Cooper helps her out when they could land because it's really busy and they can't get a ride, and so she gets to go home, and it turns out that she's Edison's mom because the mom has been gone and he was really sad about it. So that was really sweet. That got me. That was a good twist I did not see.
I liked that. That made me...
That was sweet.
Happy. And Bradley Cooper, we then see, gets home, and he... Sean Jackson, Eric Dane McSteamy's lover. Or ex. And they decide to get back together. And you could kind of tell that, like, a lot of his secrecy and his, like, sexual orientation is part of the reason maybe they broke up.
Yeah.
They allude to that, so they get back together, and that's nice.
Yeah. Sure.
They should have made out, though. I wanted to see
that.
that.
Cowards.
Yeah.
These filmmakers were cowards. That's the theme of this movie also. Cowards. Oh, his name, the DJ man, is Romeo Midnight. I knew I wrote it down.
That's it.
I wrote down Romeo Midnight is my sleep paralysis demon. The scariest thing. He's so creepy and gross. And yeah, there's just happy endings all around is how it ends.
Ashton Kutcher and Jennifer Garner, they finally were like, we're best friends, we should date. Which, like, movies like this fucked up my head growing up. I was like, anytime I have a male friend, they're probably the love of my life. And so that's why at some point I had a crush on every one of my male friends, because I was like, I'm going to marry one of them, or all.
Drama. Yeah, there's a lot of... romantic comedies perpetuate a lot of really problematic ideas.
And that's kind of when I went into this movie. I was like, what messed me up as a kid? Because I was pretty messed up on this until I went to therapy. So it was like, that was the big one. It's like, but you can also just have a best friend who you're not gonna fuck.
Yeah.
And that's perfectly fine.
It's very doable. It's like people do it every day.
But yeah, it's so they get together, which like I was rooting for, but that's also like how they set it up too.
Oh, really? You were rooting for? I thought it was dumb. Because you said that earlier. You talked about.
I mean, it is dumb, but
it's the same day.
Well, yeah. I guess I was rooting for the characters. Like I also knew it was coming to like I was like, fine, you all discovered this. Like, get it. But the issue, that is the issue. I'm glad I forgot I said that earlier. He needed therapy. Like, he broke up with his fiance and got engaged and broke up like all on the same day. He lost his dog that day. You don't just immediately start banging your best friend. You need therapy in between, and like she needs to respect that because she's not going to get a satisfying relationship from it. And neither is he. Like, this is not going to like work out because there's going to be trust issues. Like, what if you've never considered marrying me? And obviously communication is not great in there. So like, are they going to talk about it before he just wakes her up and proposes one day and she leaves him while he's at his florist shop? Like is this going to be a repetition of issues?
Yeah, I guess the real takeaway from rom-coms, just a case study in people needing therapy. I think it's just, happiness shouldn't be entirely another person to you.
No, absolutely not. Because in these films, it's like, oh, that person has to always make me happy. And that also messed me up when I started dating at the ripe age of 23. And after watching thousands of these movies, and I was like, oh, shit. Sometimes we don't like each other.
Yeah, you don't have to force things to get the narrative that you think you're supposed to get.
Yeah, and that messed me up. Also, one reason I went to therapy.
Being messed up. Ain't that just the way? But yeah, the movie ends. Everybody is happy. Everybody is happy, and wow, it dragged. This movie was 2 hours.
Long.
It was a full 2-hour film. That's wild.
I did like 1,000 other things while watching it because my sweet little brain couldn't focus.
There was too much to remember.
Yeah.
It was so hard to follow, and they insisted on everybody being connected, which I think didn't need to be the case.
Like, I get that, there is the idea of, like, we are all connected to someone, blah, blah, blah. But not every character had to be connected to each other. If there was just, like, a loose string of connections, that would have been better. Like, oh, I know him who knows him, but this person at the end doesn't have to know this person at the beginning.
It's too much.
And also, Anne Hathaway and Topher Grace get back together, and they're like, oh, we love each other. I'm like, you've been together 2 weeks. Calm it down.
Oh, yeah, and she kept taking pictures with her dumb Polaroid camera. And
like, while he was asleep.
But also, Polaroids take a while to develop. That made me mad.
I did like the card he gave her, though, but how did he make that so quickly? He didn't seem like the creative type.
Yeah, no, he wasn't.
No.
I love Topher Grace.
Yeah, I did like him shirtless.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, I don't think he gets enough, like, sexy roles. And, like, I actually haven't seen much Topher Grace, but maybe we should see more.
Yeah, he was Venom in Batman, too.
I haven't watched that. He was Spider-Man.
Maybe the next one you're on, we're gonna watch Spider-Man next. Who am I in Spider-Man?
Is that a rom-com, though? I guess with Mary Jane.
Yeah, why not? Whatever.
Marijuana.
But oh gosh. Kirsty, did you write Valentine's Day?
It's actually very possible.
Okay.
I've got the bad jokes.
Do you think maybe a teenager did just like write this movie on their Tumblr? Do you think it was just like a crowdsourced Tumblr movie?
Yeah. I 100%, because this would actually be pretty good for a teenager.
Oh, it would have been incredible.
Yeah, and like that's why like I loved it when I first saw it 10 years ago, because I was like, okay, yeah, this is great. Like, I am sad and alone and all these people aren't, and look, the sad people even get together. It's great. I don't know, I'm almost 30 now. This is different. It feels different watching it.
That was the biggest thing. Also, this movie came out in 2010. I thought this movie came out in like 2003 or like 2000, the very early 2000s. Because not only is like literally the quality of the movie is bad, like it's like blurry, and, like nasty looking. But like I was like, surely this is like from before Twitter comedy or something. When people didn't have a way to vet their bad jokes. Like, I was so shocked when I saw that it was 2010.
Yeah, which, like, seems really, really close, but also really, really, I don't know, that was the year I graduated high school, so that seems, like, really far away and close.
Yeah, you're a different person.
I just think, like, time-wise, I have trouble measuring numbers.
Decade.
Like, people have died since then.
People have died since the beginning of this podcast. I'm sorry to break it to you. What? All right, great. Let's get back on the rail that we've kind of been on. It's not existent. Anyway, the movie's over, and let's talk about the critical response to this movie. It has an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It seems about right.
Yeah, pretty much nobody liked this movie. It was really, really bad. Everybody was like, it didn't make sense. It was a mess. Like, but it did. It made so much money.
Well, yeah, it looked cutesy. It probably came out around probably.
It did. It came out around It's like, I think it's the second. Yeah, it's the second most profitable movie that's ever come out in February.
Yeah, so that makes sense to me. You don't know a movie's bad going into it most of the time unless you're going to go see Cats. Like, you don't know. And so, a cutesy movie on Valentine's Day, Boo and I are going to go watch this and have a cutesy night.
Gross.
I can see that.
It's no Sonic. Sonic.
It
Sonic
might be
is
bad
about
too.
to dethrone Valentine's.
Maybe.
I hope. Please.
I tell you what, I played Sonic the Hedgehog not too long ago, and that's a frustrating game.
It is. It's a tough game.
Yeah, I don't like that. I like everything easy.
Okay, I want to ask you, do you relate to this movie?
No.
Yeah.
No one should! Like, if someone relates to Ashton Kutcher, that means they've made some really poor boundary decisions in their life. If someone relates to Jennifer, she also got her heart broken that day, also needed therapy, also shouldn't have jumped into it. You know, like, there's just a lot of, you know, I don't know. There was just nothing, like, not even George Lopez, you know?
Oh, George Lopez.
Although he was with his wife at the end.
Yeah, they had there was no conflict.
But I don't know if that was his real wife or not, but they're divorced now if it is.
Okay.
After she gave him a kidney.
Whoa! There's so much. I didn't anticipate any of that coming out of your mouth. Well, you heard it here first, everybody.
No, it happened a while ago.
I know. Oh my gosh. Well, I related to the weird, awkward Emma Stone team.
Yeah.
Her I was on board with. That was about it. And that's a total of about 5 minutes of this 2-hour movie.
If they had had, like, a teenager in the back who was scared to talk to others and ate, like, an exorbitant amount of, like, Nutella, hello?
Scene.
Me. But no, it wasn't shown.
Felt so seen. Oh my gosh. I think... So a lot of the critics, like, criticized critics criticizing, the ensemble movie, like, as just a cash grab.
No, yeah, but it is a cash grab.
Yeah, and I was trying to think of, like, ensemble movies that aren't that necessarily, and really the only one I could think of was, like, Knives Out recently came out.
Well, I think, like, Knives Out, I don't know if you'd consider, like, the new Oceans movie that came out. That's a lot of big-name actresses.
Yeah.
You know, that felt genuine. Ghostbusters, the new one.
Yeah, the new one. I think that's only, like, 3 people. I'm thinking, like,
I'd
give
like
Ocean's 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big amount of just big celebrities in a movie.
The way I categorize it is if you're picking big celebrities because you think they'd be great at these roles, that is different than if you're, like, pulling big celebrities because you think it'll get you money.
Yeah.
Which this movie was just about that.
Yeah, it was just about money. I cannot believe that this was like someone's passion project. That
No.
they've been, like,
This did not set off anyone's career. This is not, like, none of them are proud to have this on their resume. None of them look back and say that was the best movie I ever did. Maybe Emma Roberts' boyfriend, because we don't know who he is anymore.
Yeah, I have no idea.
This is probably his top. But,
Hey,
like,
if you listen to this podcast, Emma Roberts' boyfriend, let us know what you're up to.
and sorry if this is mildly insulting. You did a good job.
Yeah,
you were fine.
You were fine.
We're never going to rip you apart. I just don't think you're famous now.
Oh,
which seems like a shame. So
yeah, I bet he's like a skateboarder.
He was a skater boy, so she said, "See you later, boy." No, I'm not gonna keep going.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the joke was dead in the water, but you know the reference is good.
Yeah, everyone needs a little Avril.
So yeah, I don't feel bad about not seeing myself very much in this movie. It was really bad. I don't want to ever watch it again. I shouldn't have watched it again to begin with, but you know, you do things because you think they'll be fun, and then they're not fun.
Ultimately, the fun part is we do get to rip it apart now.
Yeah,
this is fun.
Yeah, this is fun.
I'm willing to watch a shitty movie to have fun like this afterwards. And it's not a movie that makes me want to vomit. It's just kind of there.
Yeah, it hurt a little, but yeah. Anybody out there who does feel they identified with this movie, let's talk about therapy. Let's talk about some mental health options, because let's remove stigma. Because if you feel connected to this, you deserve better, I promise.
Yeah, I've got some names for you to look up, like therapists.
Maybe read a Ruby book. It seems
maybe. Although, did that cause all this?
Oh no!
Don't go immediately and read a Nicholas Sparks book, but maybe do go to like a therapist.
Yeah, I think might be the end.
That's a takeaway.
If I make more of this podcast, I have a feeling that's going to be a common theme. Is let's all go to therapy. All right, let's just do that.
I'm a big believer that everyone needs therapy. Everyone. At some point and all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. None of us can figure this all out on our own.
No.
I promise.
Sometimes it's just nice to have someone you don't know who doesn't, like, they can't judge you. They're paid not to judge you. Most of the time.
Well, thank you so much for doing this with me, Christy. I know it was a weird text I sent you. We threw it together pretty quickly.
Straight up was my favorite moment of the week. I stopped everything I was doing and was like, yes!
Thank you to anyone if you listen to this.
And R.I.P. Gary Marshall.
Oh, for real. Okay, yeah. R.I.P. the man who made this movie. You did it. It's a success. It is an undeniable success in some way, which is financially. Yep. So good for you. Next time, I'm hopefully gonna, get closer to my goal here of just finding a film that I can fully relate to and see myself in.
Yeah.
Maybe we're gonna get there. I hope we get there at some point. So. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. Maybe see you next time. Bye.
Bye.